Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is the first ever public edition of Brandon Hanna Live. I've done a few installments of this on my Patreon, patreon.com/ Brandon Hanna. I don't offer you much, but if you want to come and join me and support me trying to fuel my passions, I'd really appreciate it. And it will give you the future opportunity to hop on to the show along with me if you're interested to talk about whatever pop culture, entertainment, movie news there is of the month. And this month, thanks to just the suggestions of my patrons, Aiden Cossack had the great idea of talking about HBO Max, what's going on with Godzilla versus Kong, the Snyder cut. Um, you name it. Hell, we might even get into some Disney Plus talks because there was a little trailer dropped about the Mighty Ducks series. Why not? Let's get into it. But before we do, I don't know if I've introduced myself necessarily. I am all over the place today, guys. So bear with me. I am, of course, Brandon Hanna. You might know me as a host, formerly over AfterBuzz TV, the Popcorn Talk Network. You might know me as the resident hitman in the movie Trivia Schmodown. There was just a draft last night, by the way, guys. A lot of crazy stuff went down. Head on over to the Schmodown Entertainment Network if you want to check in on what's going on with all that. And I see we have some familiar faces in the chat. Welcome, BCD, Haskell 420, Pardis, and of course, my own name is in there because I left y'all a little comment because I was running a bit late today, guys. So please forgive me. Thank you guys so much for being here. So, what is going on over at HBO Max? I, for one, have gotten all caught up in the discussion of Godzilla versus Kong myself. That has been quite the topic for the past week or so over on Twitter. People speculating over the trailer. Was that Mecha Godzilla? What is really going on in this movie? Was the music choices in the trailer correct? Should we have gone for something more prolific, more godlike, like we got in 2014's Godzilla? Or are these monsters fighting almost cartoonishly, more true to the original Godzilla films, like we saw in King of the Monsters, more up your alley? I kind of lie in the middle. Sometimes I love the grandness, the larger than life feeling of the 2014 version of the film, where they almost did like the Jaws effect, where we really don't see the shark, we really don't see Godzilla all that much in the movie until the end, but when he does show up, like, boy, you feel it. And to some people that could be a bit of a turnoff, like too slow of a burn, too much focus on the human characters in that original movie. But you can't deny there's a grandness to it all. That's something that really makes Godzilla feel like a god. That was kind of something lost to me in King of the Monsters. Um, it was a little more fast paced, a lot more Godzilla on screen, a lot more of these monsters fighting. Um, and I almost kind of I know some people want them to be able to move quickly. We really want to see these monsters going at it. Sometimes the monsters like Pacific Rim, the first one anyway, like the slow punches because these things are ginormous. So, to our perspective, these monsters are moving very slowly. I kind of like that because it adds to this scale. It makes it seem like, yeah, these things really are that big. These monsters are real. You're looking at real giant titans right now, which you kind of lose a little bit of that when you have them fighting a little more, quicker, almost like a little more cartoonishly. I wish there was a better way for me to say that because it's not like a Saturday morning cartoon where it's like a joke, but it's more, I don't know how to put it, but let's see what some of the people are saying here in the comments. We got Jacob Patrick, designer of the amazing Brandon Hanna Live logo, by the way, and of course the one for the periodic table as well. I just wrapped up a periodic table show just a few moments ago. So, guys, if you are watching for the first time and you enjoy science discussion, and some familiar faces in this community talking about science. And we're all learning and growing together and trying to gain a better, healthier understanding of the world. And it's a very positive show, a very laid back show. You don't have to be an expert to be on it, let alone watch it. So please consider joining us every week for the periodic table if you are into science. We also have Ferris in the chat, Kylie Petrano in the chat, saying, I love the curls on him. So cute. Oh, thank you so much, Kylie. I never knew that I had curls. I knew when I was a toddler, like a baby, like 3 or 4 years old, I had very curly hair. But then, my whole life after that point, I just had short hair and I figured I had just lost the curls as I got older. But as it turns out, the curls are still alive and well. So thank you. Ferris's Team Kong is what I wanted to get at here. Team Kong or Team Godzilla. There's been a lot of memes circulating around the internet on that topic, where Godzilla fans like to explain all the various different reasons why Godzilla is clearly the favorite. He is obviously radioactive, shoots a sonic fire breath out of his mouth. He can even go thermonuclear, apparently, as we've seen in the past. But Kong, he big monkey. So, it's a close call, guys. It is a close call. We do have Sabrina in the chat saying, my only criticism with Godzilla King of the Monsters was how dark the lighting was. It was a very dimly lit movie, unlike Kong Skull Island, which was very vibrant in color and very light. Uh, both of the first two Godzilla movies were very darkly lit, which I would like to see. Hopefully, we get a little more of the Kong Skull Island lighting visualizations in this film compared to the last one. I think that would be a good way to go. Not that dark lighting is a bad thing. Speaking of Snyder cut HBO Max, people complain Man of Steel, Batman v Superman are very dark movies, very dimly lit movies. And then we had the Joss Whedon uh mutated version of Justice League where they tried to light everything better and like throw jokes in there, but like also like actually update the lighting of the scenes to make them take place at different times of the day than they were originally intended, or just try to make them look a little lighter in general. I don't know. I don't necessarily, when it comes to like the DCEU and all that, I don't necessarily think that you need that a movie being dark is necessary, like actually visibly dark, not dark in its content, but actually visibly dark is a problem. That wouldn't be to me a major turnoff. But yeah, when you have these giant monsters fighting in Antarctica and Boston, and everything is always at nighttime all over, and it's like, all right, Antarctica at night, I kind of understand. There's nothing really around. It's just ice. But when you go to like Boston or Washington D.C., and then you have Ghidorah has a giant cloud surrounding him everywhere he goes, making everything dark. I don't know if that's something that happens in the Japanese versions of these films, but I don't think that quite worked for me at all. So I think Sabrina does bring up a valid point there. Yes, she says, Team Kong, Big Monkey is gonna win. Ferris says they just be adding powers to Godzilla. That thing is on PEDs. Yeah, like all of a sudden, spoiler alert for the last movie, he just can all of a sudden just like, oh no, we gave him radiation because he was dying, and we want him to be able to save the world. So we need to give him radiation because that's what he feeds off of. That's what makes him stronger. But we gave him too much radiation, so now he's literally going to go thermonuclear and decimate the city of Boston entirely. Um, interesting choice. Interesting choice. And Sabrina adds, dark lighting isn't bad if you can't see it, or they use it to cover bad CGI, which is true in some cases. That it takes you out of the film. Okay, it's understandable. She also says, I need to see Big Lizard and Monkey. Yeah. Like I said, guys, I'm excited for this movie. Um, as someone who obviously has done videos on science in movies, film physics, if you will, which, yes, I am currently still working on the film physics Christmas special. It will get out hopefully relatively soon. But someone who enjoys making those types of videos, and I do it from a place of love. I do it from a place of fun. I'm not the kind of person who's going to nitpick a movie. I love to suspend my disbelief, but sometimes I'm watching a movie and I'm like, oh, that would be a really fun physics problem, or that would be a really fun lesson in physics or a lesson in science. And it's like a teachable moment where it's like, hey, we can learn this thing about science together. But sometimes science at first glance, it's a school subject, right? Like math and English, sometimes it doesn't quite catch you unless it catches you in the right light. And movies are a great way, I feel like, to get people talking about science because everybody loves movies. So it's like, wow, you really love King Kong? Well, there's a physics lesson there. Let me like try to explain it to you. And don't not suspend your disbelief. Like, I love watching big monkey fight big lizard and other giant monsters and dinosaurs in some cases. But I think it's also fun to take a look at it and be like, well, you know, maybe King Kong couldn't actually exist due to problems with scaling. And I did do a video on that, guys, if you want to check that out on this channel a long time ago. Very different looking Brandon Hanna, but the science in there, it holds up pretty well. And Sabrina actually joined me for a uh, rewatch, recap, if you will, a commentary on that video. So go and check that one out, guys. Guys, if you have any questions or comments in the chat, if you want to talk about Godzilla versus Kong, the Snyder cut, if whatever is on your mind, let's shoot. I'm gonna jump over to the Snyder cut while I wait. I'm excited for the movie. I know they recently announced that it is in fact going to be a 4-hour movie and not 4 1-hour segments of like a limited series, which I mean, I'm not against that. Me personally, this doesn't quite affect me so much because I've always wanted to sit down and watch it as a full movie. I want to get the full experience in one sitting, even though 4 hours is a bit of a long time. But when you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you have conditioned yourself to sit through 4-hour movies like they're nothing, assuming they're good. If the Snyder Cut is good, I'm sure it'll be a very quick 4 hours. If it's bad, it might be a tough afternoon. But I'm excited, guys. I want, like I said, I want to get the full experience. I wish they had both somehow, like an option if you wanted to split it up and watch it like 1 hour a day for 4 days, if that's more your speed. But I think I overheard somebody brought up a good point. It might have been watching Dwayne Burke and Aiden Cossack over the Desert Men one day on my lunch break. But someone, I believe, talked about um, making like they couldn't make it into 4-hour long segments because this was never meant to be like a limited series. This was meant to be a single film, so there was no point in the movie where it was like a good stopping point because it wasn't written to have three individual stopping points along the way. So that could have been also what's going on there. And speaking of the dessert men, we do have Raul Mendoza in the chat. What's what's good, Papa? Oh, thank you for being here. Um, Raul, now I'm talking like a cartoon character. Like I said, guys, it's been a weird day. Raul, let's get your thoughts on Godzilla versus Kong, the Snyder Cut. Share with me your most controversial opinion. Let's get something going here. And these are obviously the two biggest releases coming to HBO Max in the month of March that I'm aware of. But if there's anything else coming out that you guys want to talk about, like I said, even if you want to jump over to Disney Plus, quack, 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 let me know. Mandalorian was all wrapped up. We currently got WandaVision going on over there. So I haven't seen the last episode yet, guys. I heard it's crazy. And some people saying that they loved it, some people are saying that they didn't love it. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat here. And also maybe in the comments down below if you're watching on the replay. I would love to get back to you. And again, guys, time to, I guess, shamelessly plug everything. Please hit that like button on this video if you want more episodes of Brandon Hanna Live. I'm trying to bring them to you on a monthly basis, and it's just like basically just like a hangout. I might pull some people up on screen, some patrons, some friends. I texted PJ Campbell a while ago. He said he might hop on, but I don't see him here at all. And I don't think I'm missing a text message from him at all. Nope, nope. He's just a dirty liar. I'm kidding, of course. Maybe we'll see PJ soon. But we have Raul saying, I am ready to see these monsters kick some ASS. I try not to swear, guys. I do my best. But I would like to see them KISS. Sorry, I had to do that. Kiss. I could say kiss instead. Why fight? Let's love each other. That's a very solid point. I did see some fan art of a poster of Godzilla versus Kong saying, let them kiss, I believe, or they will kiss, something along those lines. I wouldn't walk out of the theater. That's all I'm gonna say. I would firmly stay in the theater and be like, oh, let's just see what happens here, guys. Let's just see how this one pans out. Sabrina asks, what are you personally looking forward to seeing in the Snyder Cut? That's a very good question because we know obviously we are going to get a little bit of what we saw in the Joss Whedon version. I don't really know how else to phrase that. And there were also a significant amount of deleted scenes, stuff left on the cutting room floor, stuff that was completely reshot that we lost entirely in that original cut. And there's, of course, a lot of reshoots, bringing Deathstroke in maybe a larger role. We've got Jared Leto's Joker coming back. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I would say we'll also have like an updated look of Steppenwolf, and we're gonna see a little bit of Dark Side and another character where I really wish I had Mike Kalinowski with me right now to tell me who this other character was in that original Snyder Cut trailer that kind of looks like Dark Side, but is actually just someone that works along with Dark Side. I do not know the name of that character, and I'm embarrassing myself. So let's move on. I am most excited. I'm going to say to see how Superman and Batman are portrayed specifically in this movie. I think Batman's role was kind of changed in the version that we got in the theaters. There was some reshoots where Superman put the line back on him, tell me, do you bleed? And then Batman was on the ground in his bat suit that wasn't looking particularly good. I don't think it was ever meant to be viewed from that angle or in that lighting, but the suit was not looking particularly good. And Batman was like, yep, something's definitely bleeding. Like, I can go without that. I would like to see the version of Bruce Wayne slash Batman that we did get at the end of the Snyder Cut trailer, where he's like, I don't care how many hells on how many worlds he's fought. Like, he's never fought us, not us together. Like, that is the Batman leading the Justice League that I need in my life. I need Batman saying rad stuff like that that would make me want to run through a brick wall for him. So that's what I really want to see out of Batman. And Superman. Any version of him without a CGI'd upper lip is going to be a win for sure. Seeing him in the black suit, I think, is going to be really cool. And I think I really do love Henry Cavill's portrayal of the character, and I want to see him be a little more lighthearted, a little more optimistic, like the Superman that people in general love. But I want to see him make that progression on its own. I don't want it to be forced. It was super great that we got the John Williams Superman theme sprinkled in moments in the theatrical cut, and to that, also the Danny Elfman Batman theme was sprinkled in as well. Stuff like that was really fun, fan servicey type things, but ultimately don't serve the story. So I know Kevin Smets is particularly excited about the Junkie XL score being in the movie. So that is also something to look forward to because I am a score whore, like Mark Riley and many of our other friends in the movie fandom space. We also have some more comments here. BCD saying, "Loving WandaVision. You are going to like episode 4. I'm not at your Patreon, but bring me on. I will talk Kong and WandaVision anytime." Definitely BCD. We will work something out for sure. Sabrina asks, "How do you think this HBO Max Warner Brothers deal is going to affect big blockbusters going forward? Is this going to be the standard of the death of movie theaters?" Sabrina coming in with the hard hitting questions. I'm just trying to be goofy, but now I got to put on my serious face. How do I think this is going to affect blockbusters going forward? So, really, the big news here, the reason why we're getting Godzilla versus Kong on HBO Max in the first place, is Warner Brothers is simultaneously releasing their films this year in theaters where theaters are still open. Not open here in Los Angeles, and even if they were, still wouldn't go with the state of things right now, but simultaneously doing that and releasing them on HBO Max at the same time. It's hard to say. The death of movie theaters, I really don't want to see it. I think to quote Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. I think that movie theaters will find a way somehow. Especially, I think there's going to be a big boom when the pandemic is over, things are considered safe again, and movie theaters become open to full capacity. I think there is going to be a big boom initially because people are just so pent up being indoors all the time, not being able to go out and do things. Just the act of being in a crowded movie theater with people again, even if it's a movie you don't necessarily want to see, with a large soda and a big bucket of popcorn and hanging out with your friends on a Saturday night. I think, assuming theaters can afford to reopen at that time, I think there's going to be a big boom. So I don't know necessarily the long term effects. I think it'll lead more towards mid to smaller movies also going to streaming, especially when there is Disney Plus, which is tied directly into the Walt Disney Company, and HBO Max, which is tied directly into Warner Brothers. They have a more easier path direct to consumer. They don't have to like sell rights to Netflix or anything like that. So I think we are still going to get movies that maybe 5 years ago would have certainly gotten a theatrical release. Some of those movies going directly to streaming services like HBO Max and Disney Plus. But I'm too optimistic and I love the movie theater experience too much. I refuse to believe that movie theaters are going to die. I think they're going to find a way. We also have Raul Mendoza saying, "There is a lot of things I'm looking forward to in this life. Finish shooting my film, graduate from college, apply for grad school, take a poo in a couple of hours, but none of them include the Snyder cut." Ah, that's a sick burn, but it's understood. It's understood. I understand, especially with the fandom around the Snyder cut and the toxicity that can be involved. It's similar to Star Wars, right? There's so much toxicity in the fandom as of late. It sucks the fun out of it. Like, I love Star Wars. I love talking Star Wars so much, but I'm super discouraged from talking about it online now because there's always people that are going to suck the fun out of it. I made a tweet about a month ago, something that I thought was very positive about Star Wars, and I was super stoked. Ryan Johnson liked it. I was like, awesome. Me and Ryan Johnson are best friends now. This is the best day of my life. It went like mini viral, and like, for me anyway, it got like a few thousand likes and comments and retweets and stuff like that. But so much negativity when I didn't even initially say anything negative at all. And I think That was a weird noise that just came in my throat. Sorry about that, guys. I think that there's something very similar going on with DC, particularly around Zack Snyder and the Snyder Cut, and fans have been petitioning and begging and campaigning for it for so long. I mean, it's literally been like 3.5 years by the time that this movie comes out, uh, since Justice League came out, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a long time coming. I'm actually shocked that they're doing it. And I could totally understand why someone would be turned off, specifically if you don't like Man of Steel and you don't like Batman v Superman. I do like those movies. I particularly enjoy the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman. So even though I understand it's not for everybody, and I know people don't love certain aspects of it, and they're totally well within the right to have those opinions. For me, I really enjoy Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe, and I would like to see it to fruition to this point at the very least. So that's why I'm personally excited about it, but I'm not going to knock anybody for not being excited about it. And speaking of poo, Raul, if you like poo, did you know that wombats poop in cubes, and they then use those poop cubes to communicate with one another in some capacity that scientists have yet to fully understand? Well, if you're interested in that, we just covered that on my last episode of the Periodic Table, which just went live right before this installment of Brandon Hanna Live. So, guys, go and check out the wombat poop situation because it is serious business. Raul says, ever need anyone to stop by and talk these things? I got you, Papa. Definitely, Raul. Anytime at all. You know what? If you wanted to swing by right now, I think I have. I'm gonna. You know what? I have your email, Raul. Or is it a? Yeah, I'm just gonna email you actually the link, and if you want to show up, you are more than welcome to. So, guys, let me just try to kill some dead air by just kind of talking like this because I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Guys, so yeah, so let me see here while I do that. Partis asks, have you checked out The Little Things yet? No, I have not done that yet. Did you check it out, Partis? Let me know um in the chat what you think about that because I am dying to know. Sorry guys, I am just all over the place right now. I thought I had copied the link, and well, I did not. Like I said, it has certainly been one of those days. I could have just forwarded this email the whole time, guys. I am losing my mind. Okay, we have more comments here from Raul. I want to hear what Raul has to say. What do you think of the precedent of situations like Sonic and this Snyder Cut movement? I completely forgot about Sonic, to be honest. Should the public have a place in discussions that should be had between studios and filmmakers? I think that's a really good point. And excuse me as I take a sip of water out of my New York Mets cup. Not an endorsement, but I do love the Mets. Um, it is crazy. The whole Sonic situation, people didn't like the look of Sonic. And so, I mean, I've heard some positive things. Initially, I was turned off by that. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So now the studio is going to go back, spend millions of dollars on completely redoing the CGI for Sonic. And for what? Like, is this really going to increase the box office that much where they're actually going to profit off of altering the CGI? Or is it maybe just a good faith thing where they install good faith in the fandom, and what, maybe the next movie does a little better at the box office? I'm not entirely sure. But now that I have finally successfully sent out some links, we do have some people joining us here today. Starting off first with the guy that I initially texted and then bashed for no reason on this stream. We have PJ Campbell.
Hi, buddy. How are you? You bashed on me
Hello.
on here? What the fuck?
Well, I no. I see.
Hi, I'm hearing this now.
No, I I didn't realize I didn't send you the link, and I was like, "Where is this guy? He stood me up." And I was like, "No, I just don't think I sent him the link."
Dude, didn't. I literally came over right after you created the link.
Yeah, so that's on me. That's on me. So also here, someone who I struggled to send the link, but now does have the link. It is Raul Mendoza. Hello.
Hello.
What's going on? What's going on? Don't worry, it made its way home, Brandon. It made its way home. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. We also clearly have some corgis joining us.
Yeah.
Dipper's feeling like he needs to say something, I guess. Yeah, you. Everyone wants
The dog really wants to talk about the Snyder Cut, Brandon. The dog is dying to talk about it.
Are we talking about the Snyder Cut right now?
If you'd like, does Dipper or Mabel have any thoughts about the Snyder Cut?
Do you have any thoughts, Mabel? Nothing? Okay. Nothing. No, look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm glad that he's finally getting to finish his movie. I think that what happened to Snyder was an unfortunate mess from top to bottom. I think that WB should have always just seen it through to the end. I know that that's a weird thing, but, like, you signed him on to do 3 movies. Just see his vision to the end. Like, don't go about everything you did. Now, there's definitely talk to be had about some of the stuff that's happened around getting the cut to be made, and I think that there's been a lot of good in the fandom, but there's been a lot of not as good as well, and that's just the truth of the matter. But I think Snyder always should have been able to see his vision through, so I'm glad that he's going to do it. And look, I want to see the movie. It's a fucking 4-hour Justice League movie. Are you kidding me? Yes, I want to watch it. Is it going to be self-indulgent? Probably, and I can't wait.
I think that's a really fair point. Self-indulgent, but in a way where, you know what, I'm kind of on board too. Raul, tell PJ and myself why we're wrong.
Oh, I mean, you guys aren't wrong. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't care about this movie. You know, I watched the Justice League when it came out. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was the terrible thing that everybody was making it out to be. Gonna be real honest, I've watched a couple of Marvel movies that are far worse than Justice League, and that's just my personal taste. I don't care about this movie. I'm more so just, concerned about the precedent, that's set by, the public interfering with the creative decisions that should be made between filmmakers and studios, because, you give one movement this much power. What stops somebody from saying, like, well, I don't like the depiction of this, so let's have a different cut, and you get these pitchforks to rise up, and you basically fight it so hard so that way it can happen. It really scares me as somebody who, wants to become a filmmaker in this industry, and is, what's it called? And a lot of like what I write is, it's what I want to write, I'm not saying I'm making like these terrible, like, movies that are like piece of shit, like being pieces of shit to people, but like, let's say some of my scripts really do indulge into like the idea of eroticism. And let's say a group of people don't like the depiction of eroticism in film. And let's get these like groups of people to then get these pitchforks and create these movements. I think it just, to me, it sets a very difficult precedent.
There's something to be said about the precedent, that's for sure. And that's kind of like, the truth of the matter is, though, it does fall on WB for handling stuff the way they did the first time. And, like, I think that's the difference with this situation compared to most, because, like you, I don't necessarily think that I want fans being able to overrun decisions that are being made by studios, right? But at the same time, there is something to be said about everything that happened with Justice League was just kind of a mess, just overall. And I think we can all agree, like, the production standpoint, none of it should have gone down the way it did. So Snyder really should be allowed to see it to the end.
Yeah,
he should be able to finish his movie, because the one that was put out in theaters with his name on it might look like his movie, but it's not his movie.
Yeah, I think it's just,
it is what it is. And again, I'm glad he's getting to finish it. Someone should be able to see their vision all the way to the end.
And that I can agree with. I think it's just, WB shooting themselves in the foot.
That we agree with as well.
Yeah, it's certainly a complicated, nuanced situation in general. We don't want to set a negative precedent, because you know what? Studio interference has been a thing in movies
forever,
since the very beginning. And sometimes it's important. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need a producer to look at a movie and say, you know what? Maybe that isn't the best thing. Maybe we need to change this or something. An editor looks at a cut of a film in the editing bay and says, you know what? Maybe this would be better in this order or in this cut. And I think it's important to have that collaboration, but it has to be a collaboration. We've seen recently, again with Star Wars, where filmmakers come on like Chris Miller and Phil Lord, and they get fired like 80% way through shooting the movie.
Yep.
Because they then realize that their vision doesn't align with Lucasfilm's vision of the movie. And I feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is a very difficult process, maybe because I'm not involved, I don't know, but I feel like when you hire a filmmaker on to do a project, that is when you decide, hey,
Yes.
do our visions line up? Are we on this? Do we want the same thing out of this movie? If yes, awesome, you're hired, and I'm giving you the free reign to do your job. Like as a director, I trust you to do your job because we've already established we're on the same page. Our visions line up. So go out there, shoot your vision. And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be a point where someone is in the middle of shooting the movie that they envisioned, and then the studio goes, you know what? This isn't actually the movie that we want. And then, of course, there was tragedy that struck in Zack Snyder's life that forced him to move away from the project. And it was a horrible thing. So under this circumstance, I do think it's great that he's able to, in some way, finish his vision. I know in a lot of ways this is a completely new movie, but I'm excited for that. But there are certainly cases where we don't want something like this to happen. Should there be an Ayer cut of Suicide Squad? Should there be a Kathy Ann cut of Birds of Prey?
Right.
Like,
well, and that's the thing. Like WB, you said it right. Studio interference has always existed. Like, and I don't even call it interference. Like, you're working with a studio; they're your boss. It's your job, and you always answer to someone higher than you. But I mean, we saw it with Richard Donner in Superman 2. Remember, he shot like most of that movie before he was let go and Richard Lester was brought in. So it's not the first time we've seen things like this. Do I like seeing directors get to finish it? Donner got to finish his movie, so it wasn't the first time that they did that. That's great. But also, sometimes there is a time and a place to actually like sit down and you compromise. It may not be what you want to do, but sometimes that's just what art is a compromise of what you wanted, but what also you got hired to do. The Ayer cut's another one where it's like, would I want to see it? Maybe. Do I need it though? Not necessarily, because it's a little bit different, I feel like, than the stuff with Snyder, because he wasn't let go. Like, at the end of the day, Ayer still saw it to the end. That's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead, Raul.
I know. I mean, I wasn't gonna say anything, but now you put the spotlight on me. I gotta go ahead and say something. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a thing that's come with the creation of the studio system ever since freaking cinema was created in its early forms, and ever since it took off with the big studios like RKO and all those. It's been a thing. Studio interference has always been a thing. It's what comes with the job of being a producer. You have to do it. It would be nice for them to stick to the idea of respecting the director's job and what it has to do with bringing their vision, right? I always compare it to me as a photographer when clients ask for the raws, which it's like, why would you want a raw uncompressed file when you're hiring me to give you my vision? And right. It sucks sometimes that these studios can't seem to respect that and give you the chance to create your vision all the way through. But it sadly has been a thing that's really been there since the beginning of Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has. It's really tricky. And so, I mean, in this particular case, like I said, yes, I am all for the Snyder Cut, but there is a dangerous precedent, and hopefully we don't go down that road. I think a producer's role in the making of a film is very important. and it shouldn't be like understated. I want to see a director's vision, but at the same time, like sometimes, sorry, PJ.
No, I was gonna say sometimes we also don't weaponize fandom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, look, that's the simplest way to put it, and I don't want to step on any toes because I also have to admit, like, the kids who all wanted the Snyder Cut, they've done good. They've, like, donated money and done good things for mental health and mental awareness, and that cannot go understated. Like, it was very important. There's a lot of people, though, also in the movement that went about shit the wrong way and were swearing and threatening to get... That fandom is a very volatile thing, and don't use it to weaponize it. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can use your movement for good, but also keep the people not in the good contained, or at least put it, like, step down on it. Because you don't... The problem is that there's a lot of people who look at the Snyder Cut fandom and they see nothing but problems because they've dealt with so many that were problematic, when there is actively as many good ones who have done as much good. But when the problematic loud ones are the loudest, that's an issue.
Yeah, and I said in the comments, but like some of it is basically the demonizing of critics, of film critics and journalists in our space. That is a very dangerous route to go down.
100%.
Because you basically start going down the possibility of like censorship and stuff like that, and that is truly, truly dangerous. So I didn't like that from the beginning. As I saw like people just like, oh damn, these bloggers and do this and that, and I'm like, yo, whether you agree with their opinions or not, film criticism and journalism itself has a very, very important place in our art, and it's like I said, I keep going back to it, but it's very dangerous ground we're kind of treading on.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know if you guys kind of touched on it. It sounded like you were kind of talking about it when I came in. What comes next? Because they're getting the cut of the movie, right? March 18th. We know it's coming. Mm-hmm. What comes after that? Do the fans try to demand? They've already started. I've seen it. Like, the restore the Snyderverse now. Like, it's no longer just the release the Snyder Cut. Like, it continues to evolve. And the thing is that AT&T gave in. The Snyder Cut came out of a place of AT&T fixing a wrong, but it also gave power and a voice to a lot of people who don't understand the optics of the situation and why it is the way that it is. And the restore the Snyderverse movement is not going to be helpful. Like, it's you've got to be accepting that you got the thing you wanted, and now it's also time to be like, we got it, now let's move on to the next thing. Like, go move on and do anything else. It is not about continue the fight. It's, you won the fight. There's nothing left. Like, you did it, Rocky. Like, you're the fucking underdog. You fucking did it. That's it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, we keep running around this question, but like, hey, is this what Snyder wants? Does Snyder want to continue making these movies? I feel like these fans they threw these things, but like is that truly what Snyder wants, or is Snyder wanting to just move on from this? Yeah. And eventually you're gonna have to move on. One of the things my professor has taught me multiple times, it's like there's a time that you have to look at something that you've made, and if you didn't like the way it's made and you didn't want it, you wanted to do it again, it's time to move on. It's time to move on and move on to something new, because there's no reason to dwell on it. And
Snyder said as much. Like, he's ready to move on. He doesn't have any obligation to come back. Like, he's seen it done, and that was it. Like, all he wanted was to finish his movie. Great. He finished the movie. Like, I can't imagine... I don't want to say it the way it's going to sound, but there's a reason that the Marvel stuff continues to work. Kevin Feige's overseen everything. And they had one goal and one thing to obtain. Like, not every movie's great, but not every movie has been, like, super problematic either. To the point that we can get stuff like WandaVision that has nods back to Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it feels like it works. Like, there's a continuity. Everything is moved on and taken from one person's vision. The problem is that the Snyder fans sometimes just want Snyder's vision, but that's not what the DC stuff is interested in right now. Marvel does Feige's vision with a lot of different filmmakers. DC wants to do its own thing. Let the filmmakers do their thing. Like, let them do what they're going to do. It's not about just Snyder, and I want to see other movies. Like, do you guys remember, was like early on into quarantine, there was like the Snyderized version of Shazam, a fan edit of Shazam that was like the color palette and tone of a Snyder movie, and it was like, you guys say that you're wanting people to make their movies, but they all have to be in the vision and style of Snyder, and that doesn't make any sense. Like, Shazam is that is the antithesis of everything as Snyder's doing, and that's okay. It's still in the world. It still paid plenty of homage to the stuff Snyder did, but let it be big with superheroes. There's nothing wrong with that, and I just worry that they want it to be like just one thing when I want to see it be more than that. And I think that DC has a chance to be more than that, and they continue to prove that they can be more than that. It's not a bad thing.
Once again, we go back to one of my favorite sayings. Art doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
It doesn't. And it doesn't have to be all one singular thing. And it's funny, you know, they're the ones who cry about creative freedom. But if it's not in the way that they want it, then they need to restore the original way that it was being made.
Yeah.
And if you truly want creative freedom, you're going to want it in the form of whatever it comes in, whether you like it or not. And if you want to change that, then I've got a great piece of advice for you. Make your own movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Make your own movie.
Yeah.
I got tired of not seeing my people on the screen, and that's why I'm chasing a career where I get to put my people on the screen. I stopped asking for it, and that's why I'm wanting to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very, like, you know, that is like a positive outlook. It sucks that you have to do that because you don't see yourself represented on screen. But I mean, but at the same time, it's like taking that initiative. It also reminds me of, you know.
What are you talking about, Brandon? I see gang members all the time on these movies, man. I see gang members. You know, what's it called?
Gang. I knew it.
What are you talking about? That's supposed to be my people, right? You know, we're only gang members and what's it called? The cholos and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean,
goddamn.
Yeah,
it just makes you sad. It just makes you sad.
I mean, it sucks to be, you know, like on like a lighter note. It kind of reminds me of, you know, something George Lucas like was said about making the Star Wars prequels. He was like, I want to, and Star Wars in general. He was like, I wanted to make the movies I want to see. Yeah. He's like, I'm not making these movies for anybody else. These are the movies that I want to see. Nobody else was making them, so I decided to make them. And so, like, that's such a positive outlook to have.
Yeah, and then what else did he say? Why did he not make more? Because he was so fucking tired of dealing with the fans. He was like, I did my thing. I'm walking away. Like, and that's exactly it, right? That's exactly what we're talking about in a way. Yeah. Just kind of like Snyder's, like, seeing it to the end, and he's like, guys, it's all good. I finished. Like,
none. Yo,
like, fucking move on. Like, go do something with your life. George Lucas was like, fuck it, I'm retiring. Yeah, let him release his fucking Netflix movie already. Come on now.
Yo, how long has it been since that movie's been announced and we haven't seen a single like trailer? I've seen a crap ton of stills, that's for sure. Yeah. But damn, where's the damn trailer? Like,
and a second movie's already been shot. That's the crazy thing.
No.
Yeah, there's a prequel movie to that series that was already, or a sequel or something that was not made by him, but he's a part of. Like, they're doing a whole zombie universe thing on Netflix, and they already shot the second movie. And we haven't even fucking seen the first one. Dude, Zack Snyder got a sequel or prequel, I can't remember which, I'll have to go look, to his zombie movie made before Bright 2 happened. And Bright was announced like forever ago when they were supposed to be fucking doing a sequel with Will Smith.
Yeah, no, Bright 2. Well, Bright 2 is never going to happen like Half-Life 3.
God, dude, I swear to God. It just makes me laugh to think about it. It's like, remember when Bright 2 was announced, but then Zack Snyder already made 2 zombie movies and we haven't seen it yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all fair points, and I was beating around the bush a little bit earlier because I couldn't quite find my words, but you guys cut straight to the point, and I appreciate that. And, you know, and this, like I said, this precedent, and speaking of Star Wars again, like now what we have fanboys on the internet demanding that they remake the sequel trilogy and like decanonize, like what? Are you kidding me? Like How are you gonna decanonize?
Make your own damn movie. Make your own damn movie. You know how many freaking what's it called? Great fan made Star Wars movies there are on YouTube.
There are
Like,
great,
it's pretty cool
Star Wars
stuff.
fans
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
You want this so bad? Go make your own freaking movie. Go.
I am blown away by the
Whole new can of worms.
insanity of that shit. Like, the fandom menace and all these groups that exist to, like, destroy the sequel trilogy and shit. Sorry it wasn't the movies that you didn't want, but guess what? Like, I like the trilogy almost all the way through. Do I have my own problems with some of the stuff? Sure. But I also accept the art that we get. Like, to make no two ways about it, man. Like, we need to start accepting movies for the shit we get. You can't be mad that you didn't get the thing you wanted. Or didn't get, you know? Like, you can't decide that the movie that we got was not good because it wasn't what you wanted. Like, that's not how it works. You need to take shit on its own face value.
Yeah,
that's a problem. Go ahead, Brandon. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. Like I think that's very well put. And you know, speaking of Star Wars, I think it's so important to have an optimistic, positive outlook on the story itself and these characters. You know, I like to listen to Force Center podcast with Ken Knapsack and Joseph Scrimshaw.
Ken Knapsack, I know him.
Yeah, he wrote a book. What was it? Why I Love Star Wars? Why we love Star Wars? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the title right now. Whew, it's one of those days. But I did listen to the audiobook and it was great. Check that out, guys. Amazon.
Still need to get that book. It's been in my Amazon wish list.
Why We Love Star Wars: The Great Moments That Built a Galaxy Far, Far Away by Ken Knapsack. Buy it on Amazon or your local booksellers.
There you go. So that was a tangent. But anyways, back to what I was trying to say is that they have such a positive outlook. And I think on like last week's episode of the Force Center podcast, Ken Knapsack said something along these lines that really made sense to me. He's like, I don't, when I'm, you know, reading the novels or watching the movies or the TV shows or what have you, I don't look at these, and I hope I'm paraphrasing him correctly. Like, he's like, I don't look at these characters as like fictional characters. I don't read the latest Star Wars book with the approach like, hey, I don't like what the author did with this character. I don't think the character would do that. I don't look at it with that approach. He's saying, try looking at it through this other approach. We're saying like, oh, like almost as if believing that these characters are real and this world is real. And instead of saying, I don't like the choice that author made or that director made, you could say, oh, that's interesting. Why did that character make that choice? I want to understand, like, why did the character make that choice? Why did Luke Skywalker do that? Oh, because of this and this and this. Yeah, I suppose like that makes sense. Instead of going like, why did Rian Johnson make that decision with Luke Skywalker? You could say, well, why did Luke do that? And it's a more positive outlook on storytelling in general when you really buy in to what the storytellers are like selling you and just let them take you on a journey. Well, so that just reminded me of what Ken had said, and it was not exactly that, so I hope I didn't misquote you, Ken, but it was just that really resonated with me.
No, but I think that's brilliant. And look at it in like how we look at history, right? You can't rewrite history. Why don't we start looking at the stuff that we're looking at as like history books and textbooks of things that you can't change? So you need to accept that like maybe that character acted a way that you didn't necessarily think they would, but why did the character do that? I think that's a great way to look at it, and Ken's a fucking genius. Like that, I had never thought about it that way, but I also am I always just try to accept things at the face value of what they are. Like, Brandon, you've known me a long time. That's how I've always been. And that's why I think my outlook on movies has always been so different and so optimistic for people, which is always funny when anyone talks about me when it comes to movies. He's so optimistic. He likes everything. Well, it's because I take things at what they are. Like, if you can go into something and accept it for the thing that it is, then you're really doing it right. Because if you accept the movies and the entertainment and the people around you for who they are, not what you want them to be, suddenly the world is a lot nicer and a lot better and a lot more fun and a lot more optimistic.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. Raul, do you have anything to add to that?
I guess just like, I never been one to take a checklist into the film and hope that it crosses everything off. I always bring this one up, but it's because it's my favorite show of all time. Game of Thrones was what that last season is what it is. But I felt what a lot of things that were coming out of that discourse was because people took a checklist into that season and said, well, damn it, if I don't see Jamie and Brienne marry, I'm going to be so mad about this season. And if Jon doesn't have kids with Daenerys, oh man. And, I felt like that was a little bit of what was going on. But, we have to really understand where there's a clear line between criticism and also basically wanting to do the filmmaker's job. You know? Yeah. I'm notoriously known within my friend circle. I don't like a lot of the things that, like what's it called? I watch from like Marvel and DC and whatever, I did like the sequel trilogy for Star Wars. I think Last Jedi is my second favorite Star Wars film of all time.
You're in good company, so that's good.
Yeah. I think that movie desperately did something that no other filmmaker since the first person to make Star Wars did, and it was basically deconstruct it all and create how I think art should be tackled in these major franchises, because it can get stale, it can get real stale. And I'm known for that, but I never go in there and be like, hey, God damn it, this was terrible. Like, I wanted to see Hulk kiss Thor so bad, and I don't know why I didn't get it. And God, this is so bad because of it. It's like, no, man. Like, I just like, hey, man, I didn't like the way that was done, and I didn't make the movie, but these are still my criticisms, and I hold a lot of criticisms to it. I'll give my most recent example. I watched Promising Young Woman. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I have a lot of criticisms about that film, but nowhere in it did I ever say, well, damn, I could do a better job than Emerald Fennell. Yeah, God, I can do a better job. And you better give me about $500,000 so I can remake this movie. Because God damn it, I think I can do a better job. No, let's go ahead and consume art the way it should be consumed. You go in there and you consume it. You create your opinion. You formulate it. You analyze what you watch, and you do what needs to be done. But at the same time, you understand that you are watching the interpretation of the artist that is creating this.
Yeah.
And if you so desperately want to see something different, that is when you chase a career in the arts and try to do something different.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was really eloquently said. This has been an incredible discussion on a really important topic in the film industry in general and fandom as a whole. But before we start wrapping up, we have strayed a little bit from HBOMax. I know that Thor and Hulk, unfortunately, did not kiss.
God damn it, dude.
But will Godzilla and Kong kiss? Is that on your checklist going into the movie?
Yeah, man. I told you, man. I need them to not fight. Just love each other. Just, hug each other, kiss each other, give a little peck on the cheek and the lips. It don't matter, dude. Like, come on, if this was a show where I'm allowed to be a little bit more liberal with my mouth, I'd be saying some very nasty stuff. But you know what? I'm gonna keep it PG. And I'm just gonna say, like, let them just love each other, man. Just, why do monsters have to fight? They don't gotta fight. They get to love.
I want to see all the monsters wreck all the fucking things. That's all I want. I don't care about anything else. I want to see that giant fucking ape and that giant lizard just go to fucking town and destroy everything around them. That's what I want.
Come on, PJ. You don't want to watch as like Tokyo, New York, all the major cities of the world are just burning down, and Kong just looks at Godzilla and he says, "Maybe the war was inside my heart. This is how I feel about you." And just grabs his head and go.
No, I just want to see them wreck shop until one of them, one of these titans has got to fall. That's all.
I promise I don't have an animal kink, by the way. I'm not Army Hammer.
Oh, well,
spicy.
I promise I don't. It's just comedy, guys.
Well, little PJ, let's go over to you. I want to know: are you Team Godzilla or Team Kong? And then also, in addition to that, who do you think is going to win this fight? Because you did say a Titan must fall.
I'm definitely Team. I want to see this movie. so badly. No, that's a cop out. I am Team Godzilla, and I think Godzilla is probably pretty handily going to take it. But I think that there's going to be like a pretty even fight of, especially like you can see some time has passed since Kong Skull Island. Like we have to remember it was Vietnam set. He was a very young version of Kong, and he's much bigger now. It's present day. A lot of time has passed, and so I'm excited to see him go toe to toe. I kind of like the look of him still using weapons and stuff because that was all set up obviously in Skull Island. That makes sense. Even the odds. Godzilla doesn't need that shit. Kong does, but Kong also can use it because Kong is a little more of a thinker. Like Godzilla is protecting the world and can do it all on Godzilla's own. Kong, he's protecting an island. He's using everything around as a weapon. Like, dude tore a tree out of the ground and used it like a sword, like a samurai. It was fucking awesome. So I think it's definitely going to go to Godzilla, though. Although I think our friend William Bibiani made an excellent point with the trailer drop. There is a good chance that Kong could win in the end, though, because we've never heard him be considered King Kong. And this idea of like it could end with them being like now Kong is king of the monsters and they name him King Kong. Like you could make it this big moment, this big reveal, which would be really, really cool. So I think I'm Team Godzilla, though. I mean, you can see it. I've got the Criterion set like right there of Godzilla. I'm a big fan of the big monster guys. I was rereading the Aftershocks legendary book that came before King of the Monsters.
I'm in the presence of another Criterion hoe.
Oh, dude, Raul? My collection is quite the movies deep. So
yeah, I've got my Criterion collection right there. Yeah. I've got the out of print Trilogía de Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
and people are trying to buy off me. They're trying to buy it off me, and I'm like, hey, it was a birthday present. I'm not about to do that.
I love that. Can I ask you guys real quick? I don't know if you've talked about it. What were your feelings overall on like the HBO Max move for WB Slate? I know that's a whole other can of worms, but I'm just curious. Like, it's an interesting subject to say the least, especially with the state of the world. Like, I kind of commend them in a way because they're going to be the only studio who comes out where at least their slate was released. And I know it's a weird thing, like for the filmmakers wanting to see it in theaters, then you'll still get the chance because it's day and date. So that will be there, but I kind of don't hate what they're doing. I think that right now specifically, if it was anything else, I might question it. But in the middle of a pandemic, I have a hard time being upset that they want to make movies available to the masses.
I have said this before, and I have no other way of saying it, and I'm going to say it in these words. You know, someone had to do it. Someone had to finally say, yo, I'm tired of losing money. Mm-hmm. So guess what? I'm going to take this L right now, and I'm going to bounce back in 2022 and 2023 and make more money. So for now, I don't care if I lose my money. I'm playing this long-term game, and I'm waiting for 2022 and 2023 to recoup my losses. And guess what? Somebody had to do it. WB had the balls to do it. Yeah. And I will give them that. It sucks for the filmmakers that weren't consulted about these things, but sadly, do filmmakers own their films when they're finally sold to studios? And that's a bigger conversation about the faults of the studio system. Yeah. So sadly, if we're looking at it through the business model, that damn studio can do whatever they damn please with that movie at that point. And it sucks because that shouldn't be the conversation that should be had. But once again, that's a bigger conversation about the faults of the studio system.
Sure.
But, And to answer your question, Brandon, I think that damn reptile is gonna win. I can't wait. I'm Team Godzilla. I've always been Team Godzilla. I love Godzilla. You know, I want that Criterion box set as well. But somebody who's receiving the Federico Fellini box set in a couple of weeks, I have no space for these things anymore, and I need to desperately get some space. But I think that there will be no clear winner. I think it's going to be a friendly tie as they tie up to team up to fight somebody else.
Yeah, I hope it's handled. I'm someone who really enjoys Batman v Superman. I hope it's handled a little better than that situation.
Oh yeah, no, I need to see more than like 10 to 15 minutes of fights. No, I want to see like straight up like 40 minutes of just like Mama said knock you out. You know, I want to see that.
I think we'll get that for sure. I've had such a hard time picking Team Kong versus Team Godzilla. I don't know if I have the balls to declare a side just quite yet.
You make us pick a side, and then you're like, nah, fam, it's all good. It's all good.
Bro, that's some Team Kong stuff right there, bro. Just say it. You Team Kong, bro.
I don't know, because Godzilla, like, I do think, like on paper, Godzilla wins, right? Like on paper, but now, like, Kong's got, what does he have now? Some sort of
that fucking hammer sword thing. That's awesome.
That deflects sonic breath. So, like, if he's got that, I don't know anymore, because, like, I equated it to this, and I believe I was on the Sunday Unwind over at the PJ Campbell Network where I was asked this. I was plugged. I was asked, who I thought would win, and I was like, well, Godzilla's got sonic fire breath. So, like Kong in a fist fight could beat anybody, right? But I'm like, if Mike Tyson tries to fight a flamethrower, Mike Tyson's going to get lit on fire. You know what I'm saying? But now that if Mike Tyson had a hammer that could deflect flames, Mike Tyson wins.
It's not bad.
So, with this newfound information from the trailer, I'll just say King Kong.
I think the monsters we see along the way are the ones that are going to win, dude.
It's the Rodans and the Mothras along the way.
Yeah.
They're going to win.
Yeah.
But right before we wrap up, and we are going to have to unfortunately wrap up very soon, I want to go to each of you. We've talked extensively about the Snyder Cut, extensively about Kong versus Godzilla now. I want to know, outside of those two major properties, what are you guys most looking forward to from HBO Max this year? PJ, let's start off with you. What are you most looking forward to, and why?
Matrix Resurrection, which was actually officially just titled before it came on.
Okay, okay. I can't be cursing on here because Brandon said I can't curse, right? But damn. Okay. Oh,
I think right now that for me is the most interesting choice. I mean, look, there's all sorts of stuff I want to see. I can't wait for Mortal Kombat. I can't wait for a lot of it. But there's a lot to be said about coming back to the Matrix this many years later. Specifically coming off of the fact that, like, we all know that the second and the third were not, like, the most well received. And so to go back to that, especially with Keanu, like, he's had this career resurgence. He's really gotten to pick and choose anything he could do. He had no reason to come back for another Matrix movie. He really didn't. He has John Wick now. He's shooting 4 and 5 of that this year. But the idea that he decided to come back to this tells me that there was a story they felt that needed to be told. And same with Carrie Ann Moss. Like, there was no reason for either of them to be like, yeah, we'll come back. Like, I don't know, man. I'm very curious. And I like the sequels fine. I think Reloaded is better than Revolutions. So the idea of Resurrections, especially like with the ending of that third movie, has me very curious about where it's headed. And yeah, I think Matrix is probably my number one right now, just because, again, I that property means a lot to me. I grew up on that original movie. I was 9 years old when the first one came out, and it friggin' blew my mind. Like, come on. Yeah, I think it's Matrix for me.
Awesome. Well, Raul, what about you? What are you most looking forward to?
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm here to see Carrie Ann Moss any day of the week. It doesn't matter. No,
I agree with that. I was more saying she didn't need to. She didn't need to come back. Yeah.
Hey, I'm ready to see Carrie Ann Moss any day of the week. Don't worry about that. That's fine with me. First of all, if I remember correctly, who is directing this one, Lana or Lily?
I can tell you. Give me just a second.
All right, because if I remember correctly, it's Lily.
I want to say it is, and I will tell you right now. I am looking. It is Lana.
It's Lana.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I when it comes to that film, it's not the one I'm going to choose, but I want to kind of go off on a tangent before. I think it's interesting that that Lana and Lily are working on it together. That she wants to do this film herself, and I think that that's really commendable, and I think that shows a big trust that Lily gives Lana to take this film that pretty much launched their careers. And I think it's really beautiful, and I can't wait to see what Lana brings to the table with it, because in my ideal world, I would have loved to have seen Lana and Lily to do this again. and go back at it together, especially with what they describe to be the message of Matrix and all of that. Going into like queer identity, and I would have loved to see, but now knowing that kind of Lana is bringing this project herself to the pitch to the silver screen, I think it's like, well, damn, you have this opportunity to kind of propel your career again, and I think that's beautiful. Of course, mine is Denis Villeneuve's Dune. I mean, come on, I love that book. I saw that trailer. I rewatched it for like a couple, like 10 times right after I went to bed. I woke up the next day. I rewatched another 10 times. I got copyright claimed on YouTube for watching it on the stream a couple of 10 times. It doesn't matter. I'm ready for that movie. I wanted it. I wanted it to be injected into my veins. I want it all. I want it all. I can't, I truly believe that Denis Villeneuve is the best director of our time right now. There is nobody who is on the level that Villeneuve is on. And it's wild, and I can't wait to see what he does with that film. And if this goes well, somebody resurrect Stanley Kubrick and tell him to give Villeneuve his Napoleon project.
I just realized Joel Silver is not producing the new Matrix movie. Yeah. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, that is very random, and I do agree with you. Denny is fantastic.
Yeah, truly like one of the most talented directors working today. I love the passion in both of your picks, the enthusiasm that you bring. You're both excited for these movies. There's a lot coming from HBO Max. For me personally, off the top of my head, I mean, like, those are both really great picks, but for me, I'm excited for The Conjuring 3.
Oh, that would have been my other choice.
I'm just such a huge horror guy. I love it so much. The movie's probably going to be bad.
You're the horror guy? You're the horror guy? Get out of here.
Says the guy who wears the horror t-shirts every single day, including right now.
Yeah.
Dude, I am terrible with horror movies. Great films I watched, but if you want anybody to scream and yell when they watch them, yeah, that's kind of me.
I love that universe, even the movies that have not been the best.
The Nun.
The Nun.
Yes.
Stupid fun, guys.
Yes. Agreed, right, Dipper? Yeah.
I saw that one in Screen X, where they project on the side walls of the movie theater too.
That's
wild.
Bring
that back.
Yeah.
Let's bring that one.
Wait, you watched the movie in a movie theater? Come on, Brandon.
I love the Conjuring movies, so similarly to you, like, I'm super excited about it too. And then there's also there's one, James Wan has one that's coming out too. Like Malignant, yeah. So Wan's got that, and then there's Suicide Squad, which I can't wait because I love James Gunn. So
yeah, I was gonna say, and apparently Malignant is for those of you all who are fans of Dario Argento, it's supposed to be like sort of a Guayo story, which is really interesting. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of got me really kind of like, you got my attention with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot to look forward to, but I think we do have to wrap things up, unfortunately. Here today, guys, we got a lot of Team Kongs in the chat, a lot of Team Godzillas.
On the wrong side of history.
Partis is super excited for Tom and Jerry.
Look at Partis.
And awesome. BCD is all about Space Jam. So
I saw LeBron James on the WB lot shooting that movie with Alex Marzonia, of all people.
Oh, Alex Marzonia. He just joined me for this most recent episode of the Periodic Table, which I will keep plugging right now, and I will plug it again in just a few moments. Wombat Poops, guys. It's going to revolutionize the universe. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. Once again, if you're watching, you're enjoying this, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this, and leave a comment down below. What are you most looking forward to out of HBO Max this year? Please join in on the conversation. And thank you so much to my two surprise special guests here today. PJ Campbell, let's go over to you. Where can the good people find you online and plug what you need to plug? Because it's going to be Plug City up in here for the next few minutes.
Yeah, it is. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PJ_Campbell. You can find me at the PJ Campbell Network, where we hang out. We do things like the Unwind that Brandon Hanna was on. Maxwell gets lost in the internet. Things happen. You never know. We're going to be talking all about Kong and Godzilla actually tomorrow. So what a perfect way to seg into this was doing this with you guys. So come hang out at the PJ Campbell Network. We do watch-alongs. We do all sorts of stuff over there. And you can find me at the Movie Trivia Schmodown, where I write the questions questions. Be nice to the question writers. We're only human. I'm trying my best. I want to give you guys the best season possible. Draft was yesterday. It's going to be a weird season. Let's do it.
Hey man, if anybody's being mean to PJ about questions, you know, I don't watch Schmodown, but I was gonna say, y'all don't like the questions. Make it, like we said, make your own trivia.
Yes, of course. And Raul Mendoza, thank you so much for joining me here today for the first time on this channel. Where can the people find you online? I know you're working on a lot of great content, so plug away.
Ah man, I work on too much stuff. If you ever need anybody to come on, Brandon, I got you, man. Don't worry about it. You know, you just let me know. You can find me at the Nerdy Chicano on both Instagram and Twitter. I do a lot of stuff for my podcast network called the Nerdcore, CORPS. Go and check that out, twitch.tv/the Nerdcore. We stream tonight, actually, the Nerdcore live show. We're doing a show where basically it's the equivalent of two idiots getting a microphone and cameras. And we'll talk news for like 2 minutes, and that's it. The rest of it, yeah, it's what happens. And yeah, you can go and check me out there. I have a link tree. It's at the Nerdy Chicano. Go check out my my YouTube channel. I post a lot of my work that I do on there for my films, and I'm also going to start adding some stuff to my YouTube channel along with like a weekly show that I'm trying to get a certain somebody right now to appear on, but she's not in the chat anymore, so you know I won't say. But yeah, just go and look for me on all those things.
Awesome, guys. Please support these two amazing people who were so generous to spend some time with me today. I am, of course, Brandon Hanna. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BrandonHanna07. I do also low-key have a Patreon that I don't like to plug all that much, but it's patreon.com/BrandonHanna. Join me over there, guys. We have a Discord. I'm trying to like work all that stuff out. And it might also lead to the opportunity for you to join me on this show in particular right here, Brandon Hanna Live, coming to you every month, where we can talk about God knows what else is going on in the world of movies, something new every week. But we're going to wrap it all up as much as we can on a monthly basis. And of course, like I mentioned a few more times, wombat poop is a very important scientific topic that needs to be addressed and discussed, and we did it here on this channel over at the periodic table. I was joined by Jonathan Rome and Alex Marzonia a couple hours ago here. So please, guys, if you are interested in weekly science news, science discussion, learning along with us what's going on in the world of science, please check that out. We do that every single week on Saturdays, and I would love to have you join our big virtual classroom. So I normally end that show by saying thank you for taking time out of your day for this moment of science. I haven't quite figured out how to end this show, so I'm going to have PJ say the first thing that comes to his mind right now. What do you got?
Team Godzilla, let's fucking go!